Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is October the 18th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, today, it was pretty good. Work had a moment of, it was a little hectic, if you will. But overall, we got through it. I'm gonna try not to, complain where I don't need to. You know what I mean? But let's see here. Overall, we're doing good. We're feeling fine. There's really nothing to really report though. Food has been fooding. Let's see here. Yeah, nothing personal has happened. Nothing cool. Nothing interesting. Just another ho hum day at the warehouse. Let's see here. You know what I like to do. I'm gonna do my little boot up, and then we will get into some news. Da-da-da-da-da. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. From the Independent. Russia threatens U.S. with serious consequences after Ukraine fires first long range ATACMS missiles. Russia has hit out at the U.S. for its decision to send long range missiles to Ukraine for the first time, claiming the move increases the risks of a direct conflict between NATO and Moscow. Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed on Tuesday that the Ukrainian military used the U.S. supplied ATA-CMS or Army Tactical Missile System for the first time this week and struck two Russian military airfields. Western backers of Ukraine have been reluctant to provide long range munitions since Vladimir Putin launched his invasion in February last year, fearing that their use against targets within Russia would represent an escalation of the conflict. But Ukraine repeatedly argued that it needs long range missiles and other more powerful equipment like fighter jets in order to defend itself against attacks launched from military facilities deep inside Russia. Let's see here. From Anatoly Antonov, Russia's ambassador to America. The consequences of this step, which was deliberately hidden from the public, will be of the most serious nature, Antonov said on Telegram. Washington is consistently pursuing a policy of completely curtailing bilateral relations. The United States continues to push for a direct conflict between NATO and Russia. Now, I know this was something that like Biden, the administration was like really like they were hesitant about. They didn't know if they should actually commit to this because like, oh, if we give them this technology, they use it, is this going to escalate the war for like further? And potentially Russia's going to lash out in some crazy way. But I guess given how things are going, they gave him the green light. They sent him to him, and apparently they were effective. I know I was listening. I think it was like Start Here, where they were like, yeah, like the guy was saying like, oh, some people are even saying that like maybe if they gotten them sooner, this would have made a bigger impact on the counteroffensive. I kind of disagree with that narrative. I know I don't have any fucking military experience. I just read Art of War once. But I don't know. I do think this is it seems like an effective tool, but I also understand that it does come with a very heavy weight. And like if you were using this to actually launch into, Moscow or something like that, that is major. But I think they just hit military bases, like Russian air bases or something like that. It did do some damage. So I mean, we'll see how what comes of this in the future. In terms of like reprisals from Russia, what they're going to do, and just how effective, missiles tools like this are going to be in the future. I know, we've talked about, I haven't heard too much, about the effectiveness of the fighter jets as of yet. I know we talked about the tanks and some of the issues with them. So that's been kind of hit and miss, no pun intended. But yeah, let's go ahead and segue. I feel like we call that coverage. There you go. So we went from the Russian front, Ukraine. We got to talk about Israel, Palestine. From the Associated Press, Israel will let Egypt deliver some aid to Gaza as doctors struggle to treat hospital blast victims. See. Israel said Wednesday that it will allow Egypt to deliver limited quantities of humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. The first crack in a punishing 10-day siege on the territory came one day after a deadly blast at a Gaza City hospital killed hundreds and put an immense strain on Gaza doctors treating many wounded as medical supplies ran out. The announcement to allow water, food, and other supplies came as rage over Tuesday's night's blast at the I'm mispronouncing everything. My bad. At the Al-Hali hospital spread across the Middle East, and as President Joe Biden visited Israel in hopes of preventing a wider conflict in the region. Now, we did touch on that yesterday, and I know I had said, yeah, Biden's going to be coming to Israel, and he's probably going to, talk to some other Middle Eastern, nations, do some powwows with them. But because of what happened at this hospital, because of this bombing, because of this airstrike, the verbiage has changed a lot in the 24 hours. Like, there was the initial call of like, yes, Israel did this strike, but Israel has vehemently come out and said, no, we did not do this. They said that overnight. They have been trying to cite their sources. They even drummed up some interview. Or not interview, I'm sorry. They found this footage. They have it. And it's these two people talking. They say that they are these jihadists. They are part of this jihadist subsect and that they were claiming responsibility for it. Like, here's proof. And, here's our military leader saying, hey, we didn't have any operations going on here, but we saw that this jihadi group was doing something and they fired and it was a misfire into the hospital. They did it. Now, that evidence is being refuted by other sources and other people. Also, looking at the trajectory of the missile, the payload of the missile, people are just saying that that is not possible for this group to just have that. Like, even if they did fuck it up, that's just not possible. But at the end of the day, it is going to go down to, what narrative you're going to believe there. But that's where we stand. I think that regardless of, what you think or feel, how you land on it, Middle Eastern countries surrounding have responded in a way of saying, like, no, this is Israel's fault. And, we are not fucking with you, Biden. We are not fucking with Netanyahu. We are not talking with you right now. And it was requested by the U.S. for this to happen. And I do feel like that is of note. Netanyahu doesn't say that on accident. It is important. And it's also sad and upsetting to me because you should hear what is happening and go, oh, no, people are not eating. People are not, there's no electricity here. We should give them this stuff. But they're like, no, at the end of the day, we do not even want to fund anything that might get to an Hamas soldier. We don't want that. We are so anti that we are willing to let people starve and die. And, another thing too I need to add to before we move along here, and I know I've riffed a lot, but obviously you can go to the Associated Press. You can read this fucking shit yourself. This shit, they told this hospital, hey, you need to be aware. You need to evacuate. You need to go. That was given multiple times. So that's a weird, throw up to do that, right? And then be like, oh, yeah, and this misfire happened. We were not doing anything. It's or maybe you were just bombing with reckless abandon. Or maybe this was planned. I do not want to put words and thoughts and actions into people's shit. Obviously not. But this shit is barbaric. It is. People throw that word around a lot. But, you see this shit. This was supposed to be a place where people thought they were going to be safe. Where people were getting the limited help that they could get. And, yeah, now, almost 500 people have been killed from this. So, it is a very upsetting situation, but I guess you can say that this is a silver lining that people are hopefully going to get some aid. Obviously I'm, going to try to keep, you posted on that. But yeah, I mean, this was important news that fell down the pipe before I went on. So I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and throw it up. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about some Belt and some Road. From Reuters. Leaders gather in China for smaller, greener Belt and Road summit. Now, I personally want to preference this that, like, I'm reading this from, like, a Western media source. So, like, that just is what it is. It's the easiest way for me to do this shit. I'm on my own personal time constraints. I'm not going to do the real great work. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm doing my best I can on the budget that I'm given, but I appreciate it, and I love the work. That being said, I do feel like this is a bit biased against my own bias, maybe. I don't know. But they are very anti, the BNRI, the Belt and Road Initiative. I personally think this is a great idea, and I, love what China is attempting to do here. And I'm, not to say that it's without pitfalls and things of that nature. But yeah, I just figured, hey, preference that, but let's go ahead and get into it. When China launched its Belt and Road Initiative 10 years ago, it touted huge infrastructure spending, linking it with Western Europe, which as recently as 2019, Britain's then finance minister said had tremendous potential to spread prosperity and sustainable development. 10 years on, the most senior EU leader expected to attend the third Belt and Road Initiative summit, or Belt and Road Summit this week, is Hungary's populist Viktor Orban. Oh gosh. Oh man, Viktor Orban, what a guy. Who will join guests including Russia's Vladimir Putin and a minister of the Afghan Taliban. That's right. All the baddies are showing up. It's crazy. It's like Legion of Doom in this motherfucker. And we're talking infrastructure. It's crazy. It's fucking wild. Western skepticism of the cornerstone of President Xi Jinping's ambition to extend China's global influence stems from China's failure to assuage concern over its intentions and whether there is in fact a gap this infrastructure would be filling, compounded by concern over lack of transparency, analysts say. Such Western doubts have coincided with Xi's assertive leadership and deterioration in ties over trade, human rights, COVID-19, and Taiwan. Italy, the only Group of Seven nation to sign on to the scheme, is now looking for a way out. Definitely, you can look at some of these charts and things like that. Things were performing well around 2018, 2019, but then you do see a tremendous dip. But I mean, granted, you look through all these years, it's like, yeah, the whole fucking world went through a whole fucking dip. There's also talk of like, yeah, some people look at this and say, oh, well, this is like a big debt trap, because a lot of what the Belt and Road Initiative is like saying, hey, we're trying to make this infrastructure happen. And not only is it going to bridge the gap for us and you, it's also going to enrich your areas because it's providing some kind of infrastructure thing to you. Either like literally like, actual belts, or like actual trains and, roads and things of that nature, but also just making actual, money things happen for you and things of that nature. Like, yes, you're gonna have to pay us back, but in overall, it's gonna be good for the goose, good for the gander. Everyone's gonna fucking win here. So obviously over time, debt is not a good thing, and that's not great. But I will say, I think it's better than some of the situations where it's like, oh, we see that you're in a bad spot here, a catastrophe happened. Here's some money, and like, you'll pay us back, right? Someday, sometime soon, and we'll work with you. And like, it's like, dude, we're at our worst moment here, and you're essentially just giving us a loan to bail us out. And then you wonder, like, decades on, it's like, oh, well, now we're calling this a fail state. And it's like, yeah, because we just don't have the resources. And then like, when we were at our worst moments, you said, hey, here's a loan, we'll like bail you out, we'll help you out, sure. So I don't know. I think things like this were at least advantageous. obviously economists around the world or whatever, people listening to this, like, this motherfucker doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. True. You got me. Guilty. But overall, I do like the strategy. I get that in a capitalist society, yeah, we were going to have to talk about debt. You're going to have to owe us some money. There's going to be some interest involved. Like, so I don't know if that's necessarily a trap. Maybe that's debatable. I don't fucking know. Let's see here. Back to the article. I'm kind of floating between kind of grazing through some Wikipedia and then also Reuters. Let's see here. So, everyone's kind of schmoozing. Everyone's talking. I know Putin was kind of an aspect that was important too, because obviously Putin does not leave Russia. He doesn't leave the house very often, especially, post 2019. And so him coming out, making the rounds, talking to people, that was big. There was, I think, a rework on the loans for Sri Lanka and another country, Sri Lanka and Zambia. And that was another thing too. I like that, like, some people were saying, like, oh, it's exploitive that, Africa was involved and things of that nature. Like, a lot of just countries that weren't obviously a part of these, like, Western conglomerates. I think that's something that is potentially a cool thing. Like, hey, these countries are aligning and working together for better interests. I don't know. I think that there are things that you're going to pull from BRICS that are good things too. I don't know. Call me crazy, but I don't know. I'm kind of just talking circles a little bit here. Sorry about that. But I did think this was an important thing to talk about, just because it's a summit of, big people that don't normally come out. I know the Belt and Road Initiative is something that is very important, though mea culpa, I did not explain it very well. I'm sorry. I know, amateur podcasting at its finest right now. But, I do feel like it is important to talk about that. It's like, it's hard to find what I feel like is a non-biased description of what Belt and Road Initiative is. That's why I mentioned that Wikipedia was a source here, because, like, I feel like you got to kind of see it on both sides here and then, like, see what people on the ground are saying, because it is important, because some people are saying, oh, this is, like, helpful, this is useful. In other countries, you can go to Italy and they're saying, like, no, this isn't actually working for us. Like, we kind of are having buyer's remorse here. So, obviously that's all valid, but, figured I'd bring it up for the podcast, talk about it a little bit. All right, now let's talk about something a little bit lighter, but a hell of a lot spicier. Let me go ahead and take my last break, and then we'll wrap it up. Ooh-wee. Okay. From the BBC News. Guinness World Records crowns new hottest pepper. Excuse me. The Guinness World Records has crowned Pepper X as the hottest chili pepper in the world, dethroning the Carolina Reaper chili pepper after 10 years. For comparison, a habanero pepper typically hits 100,000 Scoville heat units, but Pepper X registers at 2.69 million units. Breeder and grower Ed Curie created both record-breaking peppers, which I find incredible. The fact that this man literally made I think he made the Carolina Reaper, and yeah, he made that, and then decided to say, hey, that was my, like, gift to the world in a way. I made this. I think he, like, shared the seeds or whatever, and people made their own variations. But he hit the lab again, and I think he said it took him about 10 years to make this pepper. That's the pepper I have that looks like a curled sphincter. That little number. And he said this thing is wicked. He said he felt heat for 3 hours. That was then followed by intense cramps that left him, like, sprawled out on, like, the floor. So that's insane. I think there's also videos of this, like, you can check out YouTube. I think, like, the hot ones, like Sean Evans or whatever, tasted it or what have you. But he hit the lab in a big way with this pepper, and he said he only, like, talked about it with like very close family, like very close people in his circle, kept a tight circle. He wasn't messing around, wasn't playing no games here. And yeah, apparently this thing is a monster. Uh, so I saw like memes about it at first, and then I read the actual news about it, and I was like, this is incredible. I have to talk about it. Also, I love that like we're bringing back X again, and not like X formerly known as Twitter, like X, like yeah, X is extreme. Like, you know what? Way to take it back. So we salute you, Ed Curie. You're dope. You're keeping it spicy. Man, and I've been thinking about this, and let me know. Please give me feedback. Holler in the little questionnaire in the comments, whatever. Like, do you ever eat something hot or think about something hot, like, and you get sweaty? Because for me, that is a constant thing. Like, I look at this pepper and I start sweating. I get internally hot, and I like just talking about Ed Curie's story. He said like he was addicted to drugs and alcohol, and like he got into making peppers, growing peppers. It became like a big thing for him, and like I can kind of get that. Like, there's a certain kind of association, like, even with, like, psychedelics, and then I think about, like, spicy peppers. There's a certain kind of, like, lizard brain thing that stirs in me. I don't know if that's for you or not. Please give me feedback. Please tell me I'm not crazy. But, yeah, I totally fuck with this. Also, another fun fact about this. Typically, people think that the seeds are the reason for the heat, but it's actually, they say, the placenta. The curvatures of the inner pepper that really make it spicy, and like that's why this thing looks so gnarly and weird, because it's like curled up, like it's like he literally like just like suppressed it, like man, he just went anime on this pepper, and I love it. Like, my man broke bad on this pepper. Like, this is his blue magic. I love this for him. He did it twice. So yeah, hell yeah. But that's the news for the day. That's the episode. If you'd like to support the effort, it would mean a lot. Let's see, patreon.com/AZanews. I will dub thee a newsie. I shout you out at the top of the month, and then I also plug a project thing you're doing. Let's see, feedback, the freeway, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Also, I'm on all the socials. Feel free to find me there, or the podcast there. Even got a Discord. That's still a thing. I know, no one joins, but it's there. It exists if you're willing to find it. AKA ask me and I'll just give it to you. Just let you have, I'll invite you. Let's see. But also subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't. That helps out a lot. Thumbs up. Please give me all the good stars, all of the stars, max them out. And yeah, that's it. That's the episode. And thanks so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.